What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Study Hall here on TCG University for the card game UniVersus. My name is Tam, and today I'm joined by
James
and Tyler.
What Study Hall is for the unenrolled is we've taken a bunch of your guys' UniVersus topics as well as some of our own, and we sit down and we discuss them for your amusement, entertainment, and knowledge. So before we jump into that, a little bit of housekeeping. If you like the show, please go out and show your support out on Facebook, Patreon, YouTube, Twitch, all at TCG University. Go out, toss a couple bucks if you've got them on Patreon for some exclusive stuff. But if you got no bucks to toss, that's totally cool. Go out, like, share, subscribe to all of the other channels. That would be super, super rad. Follow on Twitch. We are trying to incorporate much more live content in the future, so the more that you can be involved, the more that you get everything, you know. With that, I want to give a big shout out to all of our Patreon sponsors, junior or higher tier. We've got Addie, Andrew Dang, Anthony Albino, Bryce Rathsack, or right in Bryce, Chris Miner, Clay Cardwell, Jay Rogers, Jarrett Hubbard, John Stone, Justin Farris, Kat Maria, Kevin Broberg, Lucinda Letica, Andrew, Paul Casagrande, Peyton Kiker, Samantha Stevens, the baddest bitch around, Theodore Ruiz, Tyler Zane Pease. Thank you so much, you guys, for helping us keep the lights on and pushing us to go further and beyond Plus Ultra. So,
I didn't know people got titles
that
with their names.
said,
Really, I just want to say, really, thank you. This list is getting so long. It's so awesome to see.
it truly is.
Thank you so much. That's so cool.
It just pushes us to make even better content.
Are you about to highlight the
Well, I was
baddest bitch
going to
around?
delete it, but now I kind of want to see if I just leave it there, if he'll say it every time.
Probably.
I definitely will.
Okay, I'm relieved.
James, how's your weekend UniVersus been, man?
I built some decks and edited some profiles. The same thing it's been for the last 3 months.
You can get rid of this script now, Sam. Thank you. Build some decks, edit some profiles. Have you done any thinking, some ideas, some collaborating when it comes to UniVersus as a whole? Any new discoveries, inspirations? No.
I don't touch any of the DLC stuff because it's
Don't
not
give a
UFS
shit.
Ultra. It's not UFS Ultra.
Fuck you.
My brain thinks in UFS Ultra. We talked about this. Anything outside of UFS Ultra, I just don't think about.
Yeah. All right.
Because I can't see it in my head because my brain goes, Amy, I'll be. It just goes down the line. I just don't think of those DLC characters. I know they exist.
Mm-hmm.
I know some of them. But anytime I do anything, I have to look at UFS Ultra.
Yeah.
And if I'm at work, I can't look up every single DLC character, so I'm building from Ultra only, and so that's all I do. I don't make any new discoveries.
Interesting.
I also don't get to plays right now. So
Well, anytime you want to play. Just let
well,
me know.
I can't because every time I build the deck, I have to take it apart for the campus championship.
Well, put it back together. I
And
guess
I'm
I
not
don't.
gonna proxy it.
I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, that's why I'm playing more White Sports right now.
That's fair. That is totally.
I don't have
okay.
to take my decks apart.
That's okay. That's totally fine. Tyler, how about you, man? How's UniVersus been?
I have also built. I made some deck lists for other decks. I don't
Such
remember
as?
what they were. I know
You
I
were
made
about
it-
to say I don't remember what they are, and I made you just remember.
Yeah. Well, no, I made I know today I made a Byaku list for Earth.
Interesting. You liked him that much?
I love Byaku. I've always liked Byaku, but I've always been told, nah, he's garbage. He sucks. Fuck you for trying to play him.
I don't think we've ever.
I think those were
directly
your
said that.
exact words every single time. You said, God,
think I
Tyler,
said-
you
I
big,
think
dumb,
you-
stupid idiot.
I think you are paraphrasing a little bit. I also called you a dirty slut. If it,
All right. Yeah, right.
I don't think you're
I
remembering
think
quite
I said
properly.
I think Byaku's too slow. I think I said that. I don't think he's bad.
Nah, it's every time I've tried to play him, you're it's, I don't know. There's always a Byaku's not good mentality from everybody else in the room.
Okay. All right.
I
I
don't
loved
think it's a Byaku's bad thing. I think it's every time we tell you suggestions for your deck to change your Byaku, and you're like, yeah, but I want to do this, and it's just
I've never
okay.
I've never made a Byaku list
Dude,
because
here's-
I've always been told that he's bad.
Okay. All right. Let's hear live on the record.
Yeah,
Somebody,
yeah, yeah.
somebody clip this. Tyler.
Yeah.
I give you permission.
Yeah.
To play whatever the fuck you want, dude.
Right, I know.
It's I don't know. Were you waiting for that from me?
No, it's that.
He's waiting for me to turn in one of my 3 chips for the year.
No, it's that I
I
care
haven't used them
about
yet.
Me neither.
the group consensus, right? If I think a character's if I think a character could be okay, but everybody else is nah, he's not good. I want to trust everybody else because they've played more than me.
Ooh, I
Right?
like that. Little
This
team
was also
mentality.
back when I was asking Michael his opinion of Byaku.
Yeah.
And Michael,
Big
had
shout outs
been
to
play-
Michael.
Michael,
We miss you, buddy.
we do.
We wish you were in the house.
Miguel.
Dumb,
He misses us too.
dumb
He
Corona. Yeah.
was playing. He has played Byaku,
Yeah.
right? So he had some insight into the character.
And he said,
But he's
trash
bad.
garbage.
Right. It's dog trash.
Dog shit.
So I never really played him before. I love the character. I like him a whole lot. So I tried him on Earth, and I totally think like in Earth Biako they could like. I also made a Siegfried list, right?
What's his best
And there are a
symbol?
lot of the same. Earth is maybe his best symbol.
Earth is his best.
I think that air deck's sick.
Yeah, but he flips things, and Earth's entire flip momentum it's got going on is
I have like
crazy shit nuts.
I have a mystery fifth topic I really want to talk about,
What's
but
it?
I'm
What
not
is it?
I'm not positive that I'm not sure this is the best podcast for it.
Then write down. We'll think about it later. What is it? Tell me what it is.
No.
No, tell me what it is. I want to know.
No.
Damn it. What do you want to know, Sam?
Are you on mic?
Are you talking in your mic?
You know what I want to know?
What do you wanna know?
Where do I plug these headphones in so that I can listen to you guys talk? And
You cannot.
oh,
Can you not plug him in the soundboard?
No. Oh, I guess you can.
It used to be that.
Yeah,
way.
you can plug it in the soundboard.
I don't
Do
know
you
how.
far right corner? Do you see the little
Top.
like guitar prong?
Right corner. Top right.
Did I say? I thought I said right.
You said far
Yeah.
right.
Right, top right, by the way. Everybody on Twitch.
But it's like I put it in.
So
We're on
pull it
Facebook.
out,
Yeah.
Or
pull it out,
YouTube.
and it screws in. No, pull it out.
Pull it all the way out.
No, pull the thing out, Sam. Yes,
Pull it out.
pull it out,
Hey.
Hey.
All right, we're gonna continue with our
and then
conversation.
screw it on. Screw it into the thing and
She
put it
got
back
it.
in.
But my other question is, this
Okay.
is the main show, right?
The real
Yes.
Okay, good, because that's what I called it.
Sure.
All right, cool. Perfect.
I will tell you what to update that. Go ahead.
What was I saying?
Biako sucks.
Biako's bad. or
I think
something.
I think the air deck's
Everybody
sick,
hates you.
and I think that like the Earth has stuff, but most of the good stuff under Earth is for Biako, so like it can work under any symbol.
Yeah.
Right. Because like Thunderous Roar is the big thing under Earth.
Thunder
for, like-
Shower is the only reason.
Right. And hey, guess whose card that is?
Yeah, but I mean, like everything else supports that. You got the card that draws a card under, as well. You get the card
Yeah.
that becomes.
I got like
multiple
4 cards that draw
3.
cards under air though.
Yes, but none of them support the entire flipping momentum.
I mean, so like this is what I found out about the air version is that like I can just start flipping foundations and I'll get enough flip that it becomes relevant. Right? I don't need to have the entire thing be based around it, even though it does help a whole lot, right? That's why
you
I
get
think
a lot of defense from that. You get.
I get that. Like the
it's
defensive
not, I don't think it's
it's
memories of the fallen one.
I get it. I have all the
You lose,
reduced damage
You lose all
for
the
all the
defense
face
from the
downs,
face downs.
right? And I do think that is viable, right? That is probably the best.
Because you get.
But like air is just more
Siegfried's
aggressive.
Asset.
You get
well,
the-
you get. It's not. I think it's actually just as aggressive because you get the throw from Astaroth.
You get 2 throws from Astaroth.
One directly deals with face downs. I'm not worried about the other one.
Sure. I am
Um,
because it gains throw.
What?
There's a
I wasn't even talking about the one that gains throw.
the other one doesn't matter.
The one that's
It's an
Mo
8
4
damage
for-
throw. I'm just saying.
The one that says Mo 4 gain a billion damage.
Yeet.
Yeah.
He's just tossing Maxi.
I mean, I have it all on the list. I understand.
Oh!
Astaroth banning Maxi $1 on that picture. Here's, I guess we can. Fuck it. We're getting rid of retro as a topic.
Okay.
Topic number 1 is going to be archetypes are very real. Archetypes are real. Sam, would you change the lower third and just say archetypes? ARCHETYPES.
People that don't know what archetypes are.
Oh, it is a.
Are you saying
group-
archetypes or
Archetype.
archetypes?
archetypes?
Yeah, archetypes.
Archetypes.
Okay.
I googled it, and this is.
You
this
mother
is-
keep saying you.
Sorry, I definitely said archetypes. I apologize. Archetypes.
Both of you motherfuckers are forgetting that second.
For
E.
sure. There's an E in there.
The second.
What?
E.
I googled it. ARCHE
What am I typing?
in the yellow bar.
Archetypes.
ARCHETYPES. Anywho, moving the show along.
That was too
This is
fast.
This is a very
Type E.
He said it too fast.
ARCHETYPES.
Wait, sorry, I giggled. T.
ARCHETYPES.
Did you get a Sam?
Yeah.
If
There
everybody
you
at
go.
home left the live show, I understand. I get it. I understand. Thank you for attempting this episode. So this is a
I'll
very
take it for 300.
this is a very big Yu-Gi-Oh concept, and this is
Yeah.
how they classify all of their decks. Is you've got an archetype, and you play this 30-card engine, and then
Like
10
Shadal's.
cards. Like Shadal's. Hey, look at you. Proud of you, buddy.
It's like Tyler's read the box that's sitting on the 3 box that's sitting on the table over there.
And it is very much a hey, you play this engine and then a little extra filler, and then boom, you got a deck. I feel right now in UniVersus, it is very, very much an archetype game. You are very much playing, if like you guys had an entire conversation of, oh, you want to play the earth symbol because the earth symbol flips. That's its one fucking job. The earth symbol doesn't do anything else, but it wants to flip every foundation and jerk off with all the face downs. Like that's it.
Well, the Byakuya deck, yeah.
Yeah, but like I'm seeing that.
I think all Earth
and
right
like
now wants to.
90% of what the earth symbol's identity is right now is it is not shared between this idea of whatever. Or sorry, let's take a step back. You can do these other things, but they are not
They're not
nearly
as strong.
as strong or impactful as this other thing. Like I think as soon as we get the Mortal Kombat DLC, I think underwater card pool stuffing is going to be fucking insane.
No, it's already thinking it's nuts now.
It's already nuts. It's going to get
Me and you were
even
talking about the other
crazier.
day.
Yeah, like there's a foundation under Shiva's stuff that just says discard momentum on my opponent's turn, add a card to their card pool once per turn on a non-unique foundation.
Right.
Oh man, do I accidentally have 4 momentum? All right, breaker 4. All right, I'll block with precise blow. There's an extra one. I'll play a reversal, which
yin-yang.
is scratch.
Yeah.
And then yin and yang. All right, I've
Stuff
stuffed
2 more.
7 cards into your card pool.
You're scratch. Do another
Hey,
one.
it's your turn.
Do you have a momentum and a new master? Add another.
Add another one. like, hey, can I do this every turn? You bet your sweet nips I can. Absolutely, I'll
Let's see.
fucking shove 7
It's
cards in your
actually the
card
reason I
pool.
want to play Mitsurugi.
It's insane. But I didn't mention a character there.
Right.
I feel like the decks are doing their thing for the same reason, and I felt this way. Like we started out this way as we got into the idea of Hellfire Impalement.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, what character just plays this deck the best?
Right.
And I'm not in love with it. I don't dig it. Not a fan.
That's the way that's the format.
Yeah, I
is.
don't like the fact that that's how it works.
Yeah.
Right.
It was something I've been talking about. Cards are too good right now.
I'm real into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the way UniVersus used to be, or UFS used to be, is that everything had a semi-archetype, but they all basically did the same thing. Just some did certain aspects better than others.
Can I have some examples?
So like Earth was all about reducing speed.
Okay.
Right? That was its kind of
At one point.
thing, but then every symbol has stuff that reduces speed. Earth just like has 1 or 2 more cards that do it.
Sure.
Right? But like it didn't do it great. And that's why it was never powerful. Fire was all about like messing with damage.
Sure.
But then like everything messed with damage.
Fires
So-
did it a little better.
Fire actually was very good at it.
Sure. Yeah.
Comparatively to Earth's speed thing, Fire was very good at messing with damage.
But then like air was all about increasing speed. But like everything had symbols that increase the speed. Right? So it was all a bunch of everything did everything. And then that's why life was so powerful, because it also did everything, just like every other symbol, except it had sort of the little caveat of I also gain vitality, right? And then like evil did everything, but it had the little caveat of I also burn myself, right? So I like that they have now pushed it toward a direction where each symbol has a sort of thing that it likes to do, because then you get cards like what's the DLC card? The Earth DLC card. What combo with a weapon?
Matricide.
Matricide, right. So then you get Matricide, and Matricide is an Earth card. 100%. But it's totally viable in the other symbols, because like flipping is something that decks just do.
Yeah.
It's like you could play it in these other things and probably find something, but it's like not what it's for.
See, my thing is I feel like what's going to happen then is we are still like one of the big issues with other card games that that I found is we get into what's called this paper rock scissors format,
Right.
right? Where this thing beats this thing, but this thing beats this thing. A beats C, but C beats D. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I feel like we're gonna find that inside of our game, and it's not actually going to be. It's going to be masked. It's going to be the wolf in sheep's clothing because of diversity. Oh no! My card pool stuffing deck is under Liu Kang. It can't. I played Liu Kang though. It wasn't my deck. It was Liu Kang.
Right.
And then you could turn around and have the exact same 60 card list. Oh no! I played Tira. Same list, same topped. And so I'm afraid of the special uniqueness that is diversity is going to be lost because of how impactful these archetypes are.
Kind
Right.
of the
And
way the beginning of Cowboy Bebop was.
The point of playing different characters is to have such a diverse meta that whenever we play the game, I sit down across and go, oh shit, I've never faced an Inferno 1 dot before. I don't know what this character's going to do. I'm afraid that I'm going to sit down and go, oh, he's got the all symbol. All right, he's going to play Nutcracker and Scarlet, and he's just going to play Reduction. Okay, I figured out his deck. Oh, he's playing Fire. Okay, he's going to be playing Hellfire Impalement, and if he's not playing Hellfire Impalement, he's playing Punch and Judy. If he's not playing Punch and Judy, he's playing this.
Coffee Samba Missile Launcher.
Oh, he's got Evil on him? Oh, if he's not playing this, he is playing this and this and this. Okay, cool. I figured out his deck. He checked his first card. Oh, it's an evil card? I know what I'm playing against.
It no longer becomes a toolbox game.
Yeah, it just
Which
becomes
was the idea of how
memorization, which I'm not super in love with. With that said,
it makes us like every other card game.
with that said, taking away, and I'm talking a lot, I'm sorry. With that said, taking away the bitching aspect of this podcast, since we do know this information, and this is how I feel, and once again, you can disagree with me. I would love you to disagree with me in the comments down below. Don't thumbs down the video, though. That's lame. I want you to understand this and go, how do I beat this thing? To the point where I wrote this article for Patreon. Did you read the article that I wrote?
No.
No. Did you read the article I
What
wrote?
was the name of the article? No.
Fucking got me. Oh my god.
Was the name of the article?
It hurts. It was I think Outs to Shadow Slicer or Shadow Slicer's Lane or something like that.
I saw your list for this.
You don't get to answer because I told you.
Tim, will you ask me?
Sam, did you get a chance to read the Patreon article?
No.
You are subscribed to our Patreon, so
You
No,
get the
I
option to look at it.
I mean, even if you weren't, you'd still get the option.
true. It is live to everybody, but she definitely gets a notification.
She
No.
definitely
No,
doesn't
alright,
have
okay,
her
cool.
notifications on
Cool.
for that.
Do you know how many outs there are? I just saw on UFS Ultra how many outs there are to the interaction to or something that interacts with Shadow Slicer. Either the +2/+2 or lifting it. How many cards?
And this
Just
also
on
isn't
Ultra.
just direct counter; it's also slowdown counters.
55.
There were 51.
Dang.
There are 51 cards, not including DLC. Great guess, dude.
Yeah.
That is about 30 more cards more than I thought there were. Genuinely. And I had such a huge, monstrous issue with this card. Right? To the point where it has, and this is like a big surprise, it has kind of brought me around on the idea, the process of maybe this card is just the biggest fish. It is not so big it should be banned. I think this card, the impact that this random common has on the game is monstrous, and you will just lose games to it. Like, in such a capacity that we haven't seen from things, like, I think it's as good as, like, Nutcracker, right? I think it's that impactful on the game, or it can, right? Draw a card, has a great block, Breaker EX, right?
Right.
And 8 damage, right? 4 low for 8. That's trash stats compared to 4 slicers, right? Draws you a card, trash stats compared to playing 4 attacks, guaranteed 4 attacks.
No defense though,
It doesn't have a block.
and it has no breaker
It has no breaker.
or EX.
Fine. The card, he has EX too. You just got to pay 2 life for it. Hey.
He has EX powerful too that you play at the same time by paying 2 life.
Hey, card's nuts. But no, like with these outs, like blocking, just blocking with a Shoken. Oh, that hurts.
Game over, my man.
I'll block with Shoken. Did you remove your Shadow Slicer to lift it back to your hand? I'll respond. Cards can't leave the card pools or your discard piles due to cost or effects. Fuck you. That Shadow Slicer is where it is. There's a Street Fighter card called it's the Ryu card. It's got Sakura on it.
Oh, so you're talking about Idol?
Yes.
Reluctant Idol?
Reluctant no, hold on. Is it
Reluctant
Idol?
Icon.
Icon. There you go.
I'm thinking of her other. I'm thinking of her other
Enhance destroy, pick a card in your opponent's card pool. It can't leave the card pool during the combat phase. Playable while
That
committed.
card was a side card for a very long time.
Great fucking card for this.
Yeah.
Holy shit, great
You
card.
played that card if you didn't want to play Shokin.
Hey, I'll
Because it was a foundation.
destroy this. Shadow Slicer can't leave. And now it's just sitting there as an answer on my board and being like, fucking play it, idiot.
Do it whenever.
If you don't,
Stopping your turn for a
if
turn.
you don't remove it, I just won't play it. And then, hey, it's like I did. Like it's like
Right.
that's so strong, and it could just exist in your sideboard, right?
Like in my opinion, it's better than Shokin. But Shokin also is a hand trap. in
It
this
is a hand trap.
situation.
Yeah.
So like,
This guy
do
gives
you
so
remember
cool.
when I said
Card
there
games
are
are
a
cool.
lot of counters in this card, and you went, "Nah, this card's too good."
See, and this is like where I'm getting around because we know all these answers, because we know what the archetypes are going to be for the game.
You're just playing.
We get to have like this really healthy meta as long as everybody like puts in the workload to figure it out.
Right.
Right.
And this is where I like that everything sort of has an archetype, because I think it just raises the floor and not lowers the ceiling. Am I off base on that though?
I think it is actually opinionated. I'm not sure that it is a
I
fact that we can have.
I think it like in my opinion, I think it lowers the floor, but I think it also lowers the ceiling. Just because your better players are gonna have the experience above all the newer players,
Right.
and though everyone has that base knowledge of he's playing Earth, he's gonna try and flip all my things. The newer players aren't gonna have all the experience on how to play against it, how to do all this, how to do all that, and are still just gonna have that thing, and it's not gonna be a ceiling.
Well, so the other thing is, if a new player coming into the game will actually have a better understanding of what to do because they will have watched awesome content like TCG University.
Lowers the floor.
Yeah.
And lowers the ceiling. Like, there's only so far you can go. It's not like you're gonna break the meta. There's no breaking the meta anymore.
Was
Like,
my term right though when raising the floor, right?
you,
Or is that
So raising the floor is a way that you can look at it, because if I understand that you are playing the Earth symbol and the Earth symbol does one job, I only have to prepare my deck for one job. I have to prepare the
Yeah.
match for one job. Oh, my foundations aren't going to do anything; they're all going to be face down. Okay, I
Right.
get to make the adjustment accordingly, right?
Right.
But what happens is it's actually, I think it's like a bell curve, right?
Uh-huh.
When you're going to get somebody who is an absolute monster in the game, you're going to get the pro players
Yeah.
who are going to look at a pro player playing the Earth symbol, flipping a new player stuff is still going to mollywop them, but the new player is going to have a better chance just because of how luck works,
Uh-huh.
right? As long as both people understand how to play the cards. Pro versus pro, it's going to be both skill and luck based depending on who's gonna
But it's
who's
all
gonna fight
set.
it. But then on the opposite end, whenever you've got a new player trying to flip the pros foundations, they're gonna know how to fight that thing
Uh-huh.
exceptionally well. So I'm not sure that it, depending on the matchup, like it I think it might bring more luck into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
which also comes into the account of how I feel about the meta, which is just things do too much shit.
Yeah,
which is the reason we're getting to the archetypes.
Sure. But
It makes luck a bigger factor instead of skill.
what I'm
Which is like one of the only things people boast about for this game is that it takes a lot of skill to win cardboard.
yeah.
And like if you just throw everything in an archetype, there's gonna be some skill, but like you're raising the cap on that luck.
I think-
I'm 100% on the board of luck and skill go hand in hand in 100% pie. Where if you add more luck, you take away the skill. It doesn't just like compound into like 110% of something.
Ryan disagrees with you.
I want to jump off of this topic just because I think it is super easy for us to go down this rabbit hole, right?
Right.
I think, especially with us not like really jumping into. I think you typed archetypes twice, Sam. I don't know, but I think you did. Anywho, we're gonna jump off of it and we're going to move on to Sam. You ready? The best set to start with.
I think it says archetypes.
You were doing it really fast in my defense. You were like, you got that? Okay, let's go.
I'll take it for 300. Do I hear 350?
It-
400, 450.
long
Just because
story
the
short,
auctioneer is my rap name, you don't
So-
have to be mean to me about it.
Moral of the story, you either tell me beforehand and have it written down on a sticky note, or don't talk so
That is a great
fast.
point. That is a great point.
Yeah, like, if
Man,
it's
if only we had a
just,
producer every week.
well, I'm sorry that I slept in.
Sam,
Yeah.
best set to start with. I will look at those later.
I'm just saying you could just type it in right now. There you go.
What's in the chat? What's in the chat?
No.
Oh God, Sam, what are you doing?
Sam's cool dice. That
All right.
She put in our
Yeah,
Oh.
group
sorry.
chat.
Topic number 2 is brought to us by one of you, the good people out
good
on Patreon. There was a
Shout out to the Patreon peeps.
awesome Discord. We're getting there. It was brought us by Voodoo Strings. For people new to the game, what is the best set to start with? ? So my question is, what's the best set to start with?
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat? Why?
It's the most rounded set. It will have the most longevity, I think, of all the sets.
Interesting.
Do you think you're going to end up playing anything from? How often have you played outside of like gimmicks like Feel My Power? How often have you played cards from Battle for Power? Like really?
No. That's
Yeah,
not.
yeah. How? So like I think Cowboy Bebop's the second good one. I don't think the Soul Calibur ones are. I don't think Soul Calibur 1 is at least. Soul Calibur 2 has some chances, but they banned a good character and one of the good cards that makes very good relevant to other decks.
Which is?
Shilbit Bang. Shilbit Bang gave a lot of options to other decks if it wasn't such a broken card. But like nobody's gonna play anything. Battle for Power kind of like rotated like 4 sets ago, three to 4 sets ago. Nobody plays anything from Street Fighter that rotated like 5 sets ago.
Sam, check your phone.
Further before Power for Power rotated. Nobody plays anything from Blood Omen that much. It's like 2-3 sets ago, 4 sets ago. Cowboy Bebop's gonna be the same outside of a couple like pinch holders, like a bunch of the fire stuff from why can't I remember names?
I don't know. Think on it.
You know exactly who.
I
Jet.
think Soul Calibur Libra of Souls is the best one to start with. I think there's so much.
The most recent set
The
currently
most
printed.
recent set currently printed. I think there is so much in that set that is like extremely relevant. Right? There are, whenever I make a deck list now, there are a lot of cards from that set that I put in all of my deck lists. And it's not just because it's like the top thing and I'm looking at it first. There's just like,
It's just because it's better.
there's a lot of staples, I think, that set brought into the
I would
game.
not call them staples.
I would.
Like what do you consider the staple from those sets?
Conquest of Terror, huge staple. Bakery Poster Girl.
Bakery Poster is a good staple.
Protecting the Protector, I think, is a staple. Ominous Prophecy is a staple.
Man, it's almost like the character that got her shit banned.
Yeah. I mean, all of her
No
cards,
comment.
all of her non-attack cards are
Angel
staples.
Discus is a staple in like a 2 of if you play a bunch of assets.
Sure, it's a very good card. Like,
Angel Discus is like the only other playable card
um,
from her set. But like
Shadow Slicer is a staple.
I think there's a lot of cool good cards, but I think they're fixed into points. Like outside like Cassandra stuff, because we were just talking about like those are like I don't think Ominous Prophecy is as much of a staple.
I think
that's
that
meta
card's
dependent. I think that's a meta dependent
nutty.
staple. But like
Why do you
Protector-
think that card is nutty?
like it just so easily shuts down. It's like with every deck kind of being keyword, with every attack sort of being keyword spaghetti, it's very easy to be like, well, there's a high chance that I'm going to die this turn. I'm going to get rid of whatever keyword that I don't need to deal with.
I can do that.
These cards don't have flash anymore. Sorry, Raptor, you suck.
Yeah,
No.
well that's
These cards don't have multiple anymore. Sorry, you don't get to kill me this turn.
Yeah.
These cards don't have combo anymore. Your deck, you have to wait another turn, and hopefully I can kill you then. Like it's so many decks are built around kind of a keyword, right? So it's very easy to just be like, that doesn't work now, right? It's just like has to sit there, right, until you need it.
I think it's gonna like that card's gonna be very good next format too, which sucks.
Yes.
It's gonna get even better next format.
Like I think also now that every symbol.
Just from looking at like Midoriya, Bakugo, and whatnot. Bakugo's all Fury.
Yeah.
Nothing but Fury. I'll take Fury away. Your character does nothing.
True.
Midoriya's all Punch. I'll take Punch away. Your deck does nothing.
True.
All Might's Punch and Fury, depending on like the deck style.
It already doesn't do anything.
Yeah. It just does nothing. And then, like if they progress that, like Yayorozu's gonna be like a weapon type character. She's gonna make things, create weapons. It's gonna be her thing. Take away weapon, doesn't do anything. Like every character is built on doing something. And it's gonna have a keyword dependent most likely. So it's just gonna be easy to do it. Like take away.
So what you're saying is it could be considered a staple. Fuck you, James. That's right.
It's
Fucking
meta
got
depe-
him.
it's meta
Fucking got him.
dependent.
Hell yeah.
It's entirely meta dependent.
Hashtag James sucks.
I also
Spam
think
in
this
the
is
chat.
the maybe the first set where, because every symbol has its archetype like figured out now, that it's really shining through all the characters that have those symbols.
I can see that.
Yeah, like I was just looking through all the cards. Every single character has a card that I would consider staple, besides like maybe Voldo or Tira. Tira has like Pure of Heart, which I could be convinced that it's a staple card, and Voldo has Mace and Ace, which I could be convinced is a staple card.
Why is your answer not Downward Spiral? As the Voldo staple.
I'm talking like
I play that card out of 4 of in every deck I can.
every Void deck you could.
Sure.
You wouldn't play it in a Death deck. That's what I'm saying.
I
It's
mean,
like
Death, it
definitely
doesn't have Void.
could.
Yeah.
Death-
Death.
I mean,
is it Mace?
you still could.
You still
You
get
still
that.
could, but like Mace and Ace is good in all 3 symbols because
Yeah.
it's such generic.
That's
Like,
the thing.
like every character in this set has a card that is a staple in that symbol.
I think Mortal Kombat has more,
Maybe.
and there are like 20 characters in that set, and not just like.
I think that could also be a detriment. Too many cards, I think, is a bad thing, right? Like it makes it
It
so
has
like
the same amount of staples, in my opinion.
sure,
but with
but it
more
like makes it
characters.
harder to get all the cards that you want if you're like just buying boxes, right? If it's like, well, how should I? I'm just gonna buy a box of whatever set that I want. I think Soul Calibur Libra of Souls means that like you could buy a box and get a lot of the cards that
Well,
you need.
If we're doing that, I'd say the best set would probably be Yu Hakusho then.
That was another one that I was.
And
That
Yu
is also
Hakusho
what he,
sucks, in my opinion. If we're going off of just basic of just getting what you need for the characters that come in it, Yu Hakusho is the best, or I would even say Seventh Cross is a good one, just because Seventh Cross is built to do exactly what those characters want to do. Seventh Cross is entirely its own set that does its own thing, and which is just character dependent stuff. Like, but it's built to do that. Every box comes with all like copies of the 2 dots, so then you just have to pick up just a couple more.
No matter what, you get a whatever the Yusuke card is. I fucked up my
Spirit
joke.
gun.
Spirit gun.
Spirit Gun is
Every
Yu
box comes with
Hakusho,
Spirit
yeah.
Gun.
Every box
Yeah.
comes with a Spirit gun.
But like,
I want to go back to the question.
Okay.
Right? The question from Voodoo Strings, which you can submit your questions over at patreon.com/TCUniversity. For new people, for people new to the game, what's the best set to start with? And so you guys are talking about all these meta staples, right?
Uh-huh.
You guys are talking about all these cards that are going to be relevant for a long time. And when I think about a new player into the game, I think about how can I, as quickly as possible, make you play the game and understand and have a good time and enjoy it. My old answer used to be Street Fighter versus Darkstalkers, because you could take 4 of any of those characters' cards and put them into what is going on.
it's almost
We
still a
have
good
banned
choice.
2 of those characters. And so
Only reason.
it is the only reason that I can't say that Street Fighter vs. Darkstalkers is still the answer is because we have banned those 2 characters.
I almost want to say Cowboy Bebop at this point, because you get the starter decks as well as an option.
I wish we had started X. With that
But
said,
then Mortal Kombat's also an option there.
I
Mortal
think
Kombat's not as easy to understand in my
Sure.
opinion as Cowboy Bebop is.
I think that Yu Yu Hakusho has taken the place of Street Fighter vs. Darkstalkers in the fact that when you look at the 9 cards that the characters are doing, it is super obvious how they play together. It is so obvious. The one outlier that we have here is that Spirit Gun has been errated and Tiger Yell has been banned,
Yeah.
right?
Thunders.
And so Byakuya feels a little bad just playing inside of his kit, but it's super obvious whenever you look at what the cards do. Oh, if I am Botan, I want my opponent to discard stuff. I want to burn them for damage or burn their vitality. I want their hand to never be sculpted. I want to draw extra cards and burn them. Super easy game plan. The game plan is so simple that is how you obviously, how do I win the game? I'm Kurama. I'm going to block with reversal. I'm going to play reversal. I'm going to play a Rose Whiplash. It's going to get big. I'm going to heal back up.
Yeah.
I need to make sure that I can play defense. Every single reversal in his kit is useful, is good, is playable. You can say that about every single character. Here, what do you want to do? Well, smack him once, stick him on momentum, look at it, stall the game out by cheating and looking at all of your my opponent's face downs.
I'll look at this one. I'll look at this one. I'll look at this one.
And so, like, I feel like Yu Yu Hakusho, if I had to make a pick right now of, hey, what's the easiest set to get into, it would be Yu Yu Hakusho, and that's my reasoning.
All right.
I'm not saying your guys' reasonings are wrong. I just wanted to bring that aspect to the table.
I can agree with that. I think mine is a close second though.
James's sucks big donkey dick.
I can-
It's
I
just
can-
better.
I will say Mortal Kombat's still my favorite set. I think Mortal Kombat's the sickest set that we've printed.
If you're trying to invest into the game, I think Mortal Kombat's your best set to do it. It has a lot more staples, in my opinion, than any of the other sets have. More playable characters, so you have more. Like if you're just investing in one set, gives you more characters to mess around with. You have your own starter decks. There are hella expensive cards in Fatality, Nutcracker, Yin and Yang's going to go back up soon. Like it's just
should be there.
I think it's like 10, 15. It's not. It dropped massively at one point. So.
Well, it's no longer Liu Kang 1 dot.
Speaking of
Botan, though.
Do you know what I'm talking
No,
about?
absolutely not. That's what I'd be a part. I was excited. Excited for you.
You're like with me word for word. I was like, how'd you know what I'm saying?
Anywho.
So can I spoil like what this week's campus championship coming up is?
No.
Just like the
campus
theme?
championship?
The theme.
The budget deck?
Yeah. Okay,
Oh, that's what you have. Yeah. We're good.
Oh, solid. So we're doing budget this week.
Yeah.
Guess how much an ore strike is? The ultra rare for both
41 cents.
50 cents?
Up.
$1.
Up.
$12.
It's no way it's $12. You can't fit $12.
$1.25.
$1.25?
It is the.
You're gonna fuck me up with these ultra rares. I'm not playing any.
I'm playing an ultra rare in every deck.
Hell yeah.
I'm playing multiple ultra rares in every deck. It's not like 1 over 2 of. It's 4 of. It's 4 of head kill, head crush or whatever from E Honda.
Killer headbutt?
Yeah.
Ultimate killer headbutt?
Yeah. 4 of ore strike.
Head ram.
Sure. I don't know.
Anywho. You're spoiling all these deck lists. Nobody's gonna click on these videos ever.
4 of ore strike. 4 of then for the other ones 4 of I don't remember, but what I was getting to is the ore strike is the 3rd most expensive attack in my deck.
Wowzers.
Yeah.
I have not priced out my decks because I made all commons and uncommons. Commons, uncommons, and
50.
What?
I'm gonna laugh if you ever hit 50.
Yeah, there's no chance. Literally no chance. Anywho,
there's a
back
chance.
to
do you know how much? Do you know how much Immortal Knowledge is?
Talk about another.
One second. Do you know how much Immortal Knowledge is?
No.
It's $1.70.
Oh my goodness! I'd have to have 60 of them. So, back to
85 cents
best
per
set to start with. I don't disagree with you guys, but I think it really depends on like what
you're
is
looking for.
What?
I think what you're looking for.
Yeah, what you're looking for.
What you're looking for when you're trying to get in.
Yeah, I agree.
So, but we've come down to the top 3 are definitely UU, Libra, Souls, and Mortal Kombat.
Sure.
I can agree with that.
Well, there you go.
I can agree with that. I think if you want to play hyper competitively, you just mix the 2 Soul Calibur sets and be fine.
Yeah.
If you're trying to like.
If you wanna go and top your next PTC.
Like if you're not trying to invest in just one set.
Yeah, Soul Calibur set. Play one of those and just stack them together. Too many weapon attacks.
If you're just trying to play competitively, just buy singles.
True.
TCG player deck.
True. With that, I think we're going to go ahead and take a small commercial break. We will be right back. This week's episode is brought to you by InkedGaming.com. Are you looking to get custom playmat? Well, then we suggest you check out InkedGaming.com. They've got custom playmats, dice bags, mouse pads, and so much more. They even recently added a stitch option to their playmats and mouse pads as well. Inked Gaming lets you play your game with your style, and if you want to get 10% off your entire order, use the code TCG University, all caps, no spaces at checkout, and help support us by customizing your gaming style. The show is also brought to you by Cards Custom Build. Are you into cosplay? Looking to get into cosplay? Do you want to show up to events dressed as your favorite character? Well, then Cards Custom Build can help. Cards Custom Build creates everything from cosplay accessories like props, trinkets, and weaponry, all the way to full-blown costumes. So if you want costumes made out of perfectly flowing cloth, or maybe you want some rigid battle armor, Cards Custom Build has you covered. Their work has guaranteed to make you the talk of the con. So go over to Cards Custom Build over on Facebook or on their Etsy account. Links will be in the description down below. And make sure that you say that TCGU sent you, and you'll get 5% off your entire order. Now, back to the podcast. All right, topic 3. We are talking about... I had it written down. Card Verbiage. Verbiage in UniVersus. This is once again brought to us by one of you, the good people, one of our sweet, sweet patrons. Thank you so much. This is by Mega Thunderzord. And he wrote... Is the broad verbiage of would and could in this game bad or good for the game? If bad, should Jasco make the wording more concise so we don't have unintended interactions, such as overly dramatic, canceling Allurophobia's damage doubling? He also says, or should cards look at the current state rather than what is possible? And so, basically, where this is coming from is inside of our card game, whenever it comes to what is written on a card, the word would, could, and should all mean the same thing. If a card would...
Should is not included in that.
Sure. If a card would or could do a thing, it counts. So for overly dramatic, it says after a card would receive a
Damage
penalty, you can cancel it. And so if
an ability could give a card a damage penalty,
inside the realm of possibilities, a card could say draw 100 cards, give this attack -1 damage. You could cancel it with a overly dramatic.
draw a billion cards if you refresh or if you cycle. Give a damage, it could cancel.
Correct. There's so much that can stop because of would and could. There's a ton of interaction because of it. So the question that Mega Thunder Resort is this good or bad for the game?
So if you have questions on overly dramatic, there's a video that talks about it a little bit.
Where you can find that at?
On TCG University on YouTube.
Perfect. What a good URL.
I think
Tyler, what are you thinking?
it's bad.
I think it's bad.
Yes, I think that if things were more concise with like what they could cancel, I guess. So like, I don't like. We haven't really explained it yet, but like because Allurophobia could have -2 damage,
Mm-hmm.
and if it says just remove a card at double its damage.
If you double
a negative, it goes negative, so it'd become -4.
Math.
Which is a damage reduction, which means overly dramatic cancels it, even though 10 times out of 10 you're doubling it as a positive number.
9.9.
Sure.
That's the only scenario I'm not okay with.
Right, but like
I'm okay with every other instance of it.
I think it needs to be more. I just would like it if it was like this card can't hit this, but it can't hit this, right? And that's just more defined. Because then you get into a lot of like wacky shit that you can do that's not intended and that needs to be errated. And that's just a bunch of confusing
Name
stuff.
one.
It's just happened before. Like how I think Shoken.
Shoken?
Yeah.
Like it had to be errated immediately because like you could make it so that they can't cycle or whatever,
Correct.
right? Like
Yes.
that's not intended. You can't have that be in the game, right?
Don't cycle, idiot.
Right. So like, there we go. That it could, in its
Fuck, nerd.
printing, make it so that you
That's
can't
the point
cycle.
one. It's just the point one's what I care about. I'm okay with overdramatic hitting everything in the fucking game. I'm not okay with it canceling an ability that doesn't directly go minus X damage.
Well, the thing is it does though because of how math works, right?
Well,
So like in the most strict sense, I think this is actually I'm 100% down for very very wide verbiage. What I want is consistent verbiage, right?
Okay.
I think all the shoulds should be woulds or vice versa. I don't think that we should I keep using the word should. I don't think it's best for the verbiage to be able to switch like that. I don't think that
so like the reason would and could exist is because of how abilities work.
Go on.
So for instance of like reduction. Obviously overdramatic can't hit this, but I'm using it as my example. It's not a would ability. That's not a would scenario. That's a could scenario. Because it could give something damage.
Correct.
But it's not a would because it's not directly doing it at that moment, at that particular time. But things like Rid the World of Outsiders, commit, give 2/2. That is would do this, not could do that. It's not like it couldn't do that. It's going to do that.
Well, here's like Rid of the World of Outsiders is a perfect example, right? Rid of the World of Outsiders, if played on an attack a singular attack inside of your card pool.
Yeah.
Says
Give 2/2 to the next,
2/2 to the next,
and then flip.
and
for
then it
1/1.
is floating. It exists.
Yep.
It is not triggered yet.
That is the could give something.
Right. But if you take and you multiple out a card,
Yeah.
and there are 2 attacks sitting in your card pool, one of them is on the stack, we take in commit it. The damage instantly gets applied.
That would be the wood.
Right.
Yep.
And so that card is why we have both words. I agree with you.
Yep.
I was
It's
just
because-
explaining to the
Oh,
viewers.
okay.
Yeah.
It's because could goes into how the floating effect works, whereas something exists, and even for the multiple, it'd still be could.
So if it still could on both, why not just get rid of should?
No, so wood is the commit to give this commit to give 2 to the Knicks is the could. It could give something X damage, right? The flip to give 1/1 to this is the would give, because it's going to give it right now unless you do something. So it would give this attack X whatever,
Yeah.
unless you do something. The other one is this could give this attack XX unless you do something. It's not would because it's not directly doing it yet. It's not. We're not at the moment where it would do that.
Perfect.
It could do that.
Okay. I'm going to get off of those 2 words, and maybe we can come back to it because my brain's
Would,
fried.
would and could is very
Because they rhyme and there's like 2 words off. So the thing about the consistent verbiage is I think once everybody understands that the fact that when you say build, it means like face down and readied, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you say build, it is very obvious that it is. Sorry, it's not very obvious. It is taught, it is learned that it is not face up, it is not committed.
Right.
It is face down, it is ready. And so I think if we have some more ideas along this line, I think that the game will get better, stronger. But I think the broader that we have words and the more interesting that we can make our interactions and be honestly a little wonky, if we can make them a little wonky, we get to have much more
toolbox.
interesting games.
I like toolbox.
Games are not don't go exactly the way they go. One of my big issues with playing the all symbol right now, or honestly even like the fire symbol, is 9 times out of 10. There's a little exaggeration here. The game goes exactly how I planned it.
Mm-hmm.
Either I take and I rip my opening hand and I kill you on turn 2, or I rip my opening hand, I try to kill you on turn 2, and you kill me on turn 3, and I just do that 7 times at a major, which just isn't fun for me. I want to have this back and forth. I want to play around with all of my. I mean, the reason I put all these cards in the deck, I want to play with all of them, right? I want to see. I want to see every card. If I cycle inside of a match, great. That's
It's an
perfect.
achievement at this time.
That's actually what I want to do, which is why I like the decks like Astaroth, which is why I like the decks like the Kurama deck that I played, which is why I'm liking these more control decks, because like I want to play all of these options
I
and
want to play longer.
I want to play longer.
The game's too fast.
I think it's specific symbols, but
Leading the witness.
I think it's specific symbols, but I think the more that we can vary our verbiage, the more not random, but the more interactions that we have, right?
Sure.
The fact that overly dramatic can hit so much means that is a card that I have to worry about when it comes to both deck building and playing the game.
Yeah.
I know that overly dramatic exists inside of the format, though, so Punch and Judy's not going to go fucking nuts.
Yeah. I just think that means that like I think that's not new player friendly though. That's kind of what I'm worried about.
Interesting point.
If everything is a little bit more streamlined, it's easier to understand and more people can get into it, right?
Yeah.
Cuz like what it comes down to then is that people will think that they can do something, right? But then because of some wonky interaction, they won't be able to, and it creates like a negative play experience, right?
Interesting.
So like now anybody sees a lure foe, be like, oh my god, that's crazy, doubling your damage. I can just give this thing like 5 damage. That's double it. Crazy, that's so good. And then they don't realize that anything that's like if reduced damage then cancel hits it.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't make any sense at all.
Well, it does as long as you have somebody who understands like how explaining things works. Like if you've got somebody who's poor at explaining things,
Yeah.
If you sit down and you say, hey, here's my question for you. If the number was negative and you times it by 2, what would happen to the number?
Yeah.
Oh, it would lose value, well then overly
But-
dramatic can cancel it.
Nobody ever thought about that until like round 2 of nationals that one year.
No, they explained it at the start of nationals because somebody brought it up as a problem, as like, hey, we were wondering about this. This is the ruling we were given at one time. What's the exact ruling? Because we've had problems with that before of how do certain rulings work with the way things are.
Sure.
How does would and could work? Because would and could is very confusing.
That is the exact issue that the topic is bringing up. Is as long as there's a singular answer, I think it's fine.
Okay.
That's how I feel, at least, and you can definitely have a different opinion. That's okay.
I think it does come down to like it being so broad means that like it's harder for new players because our game is so fucking complicated.
It
I
certainly
think
is.
it makes it
That-
better for new players at the same time too. Because like now that if you just tell them, yeah, if anything would give or could give a damage penalty or a speed increase, you can cancel it, and they go, oh, cool, my card does a lot. My card does a whole lot.
Then,
And then they read something and go, oh, this Punch and Judy says pick up another one and give this speed or damage? Yeah, I'll cancel it.
But then like I think that also, I don't know, because then we also have things like add to hand or draw,
Yeah.
right? And those are two completely separate things. And some cards hit both, and some cards don't. And
Yeah. That's also the wording of how the cards work.
yeah, and
And those
I
ones
guess
are very
I guess it comes down to then how should we have more? Should we have better wording?
I think the wording's fine. What's the problem you have with add and draw?
So like,
Because I'm going to tell you it's going to come down to card games in general.
sure, I just know that there's a few cards that are worded. I can't think of the examples off the top of my head, but I know that there are cards that
So
because of how they're
the
worded.
two in the game are if your opponent draws a card, draws any number of cards, 1 card, 2 card, however they want to word it, draws a card. And the other one we have is adds card to hand.
I think what I'm thinking about is
Every
like cost versus effect.
Yep.
That's where I'm.
That one's
I think that's where I'm getting.
that one's also
Frustrated.
is a problem. But that one's more of a problem because of how game mechanics work rather than how the game works in general. Game mechanics are a lot different than how the game functionally works by itself.
Sure.
But like for like drawing cards and adding cards, drawing is always adding cards, but adding cards is not always drawing cards.
I think what I'm actually
If you have a
thinking
question
about.
on that, there's a TLDR for that too.
Yes, I think what I'm actually thinking about is like how Coffee Samba draws you 2 cards, but you can't interact with it.
That's in that video. If you guys want to check that out, youtube.com/.
And there are other things in the game that like
It'll also be in the description down below.
because
those TLDRs.
because doing whatever is cost, you can't interact with it. Like putting a card in somebody's hand
Dependent,
or
which is also dependent.
right, and that's where I think I want there to be more concise ruling so that it isn't so broad. Because like I'm sure there's a few things that, like I could look at it and be like, this cancels them adding a card to my hand. Oh well, adding a card is cost, so I can't actually cancel that. That is lame.
That one also comes down to affectability and mechanics as well,
Right.
which is 3 different
Right.
categories. So
Sure. So like that's where it needs to be more streamlined, I guess.
So
they can't streamline that because of how the game works.
yeah,
They just take it out, which doesn't make our game fun.
yeah, it would just be like, hey, you just don't play those mechanics anymore.
You just take out costs in general, and then everything's free, or you make the abilities hot garbage.
Or you take and you say that you just don't get to play with those costs anymore. I actually think the fact that like, so let's chat for a second. I think the reason that Coffee Samba is the reason it's gotten its 1 check is because of it's the biggest offender of the freest cost in the whole wide world. My cost is to draw 2 cards.
It's the biggest offender of just being good,
Yeah. And so like
of breaking rules, and getting
when
away with it.
we take and when you stop innovating on what could be cost, then the game gets stale. Which is like, it was so interesting when you said like I want my game to be more streamlined. I'm in the exact same camp because eventually, if the game's desire is to streamline and streamline and streamline, then it comes down to the dice roll at that point.
Right.
Like totally, we sit down and I roll my dice, and then you roll your dice, and you roll higher. Okay, you win. On to game 2. You want to roll dice again? And so like, shit, you got me. But the more the wider the game is, the more chances that you get to come back, have these swing plays, just luck of the draw, so on and so forth. And I think that is where every card game is a mix of chess and poker, and a lot of
And
the
checkers.
time,
And checkers. There's some luck.
How does checkers look?
I don't know.
Okay, all right,
Checkers
cool.
is just an easier game.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're right.
So every card game is a mixture of chess and poker,
Uh-huh.
and so the more we reduce how wide it is, the more poker-like it is. When it is more luck and reads and making gut calls,
Uh-huh.
as opposed to it being chess, where we get to see all of the pieces out and make analytical choices. And it is purely like chess is the only advantage that exists inside of chess is who goes first. That's it.
Right.
And so like the wider the game is, the more chess-like, the more narrow, the more poker-like, which has their own volitions. We've talked about luck versus skill. We're not going to get into it now, but I think fixing the verbiage makes it more chess-like as
Yeah.
opposed to poker.
I'm cool with a little bit more chess-like. That's what I'm. I guess I want it. I just want it to be a little bit easier, right? I think the biggest drawback of this game is how complicated it is, as well as its biggest like asset. But like I think it's a big turnoff to a lot of people to be like, man, there's so much. It becomes very daunting, right? That's why I've always said that the curve is like very high and then it's mid and then it's like very high and then it's about
Plateaus.
it plateaus.
Plateaus twice.
And then the second gap is not as steep, but it's still fairly steep. I want it to be a little bit less steep on the get up.
On the initial get up?
On the initial get up.
Interesting.
I'm fine with it being steep. It's just like too steep means that we are not getting 600 players into the game when My Hero comes out. A little bit less steep means we're getting close to that number.
Well, okay, so here's the man. This is so interesting when it comes to the plateauing of the game. Would you rather the game be less steep,
Mhm.
or have that initial? Sorry, would you rather have the game be less steep, but a longer climb to the plateau, or would you rather it be higher steep but lower the plateau? Right. So it won't take you if you grind right now and you fucking figure everything out, you can play the game. If you grind,
Mhm.
or you can take and you can this long line is you at locals getting your ass beat for literally a year until if something finally clicks, and then oh shit, I get what we're talking about, and now we're at the plateau.
I
That's
would
the
rather
question.
I would rather it be the longer.
Interesting.
I think that because it just comes down to like human nature, and the first step is always the hardest to take. So when something is very daunting at the beginning, it is hard to get into, and it's hard to start on doing it. But when it is, when it's not as daunting to start out, you get into it, and then you see a goal at the end where I'm not looking up a hill, not knowing how high the hill is. I could get to the top of the hill and be like, oh, it's not that bad now that I'm up here, but it's looking up top and not seeing what's beyond it is the problem.
Do you have an opinion about this, or am I about to like spit hot facts?
You about to just end Tyler's whole career?
No, absolutely not.
Oh.
But I'm certainly gonna bring it a
You gonna
different
end
angle.
Tyler's whole day?
We've been talking a bunch. I want to make sure that you're involved in the conversation.
I think it's the complete I think I'm the complete opposite. I think the higher
Big
hills
surprise.
I mean, I'm in the same camp.
higher hills better for the game, especially when like we use our complication as like our main draw into the game. Is games aren't as easy as just 1, 2, 3 drop a card win. It's just or a dice roll. It's play the game, learn the mechanics, do the stuff. Hopefully, be better than your opponent at some point. Like it's not as simple as I'm going to play for an entire year, then I'll be good as everybody else. It's not as simple as that.
As
You have to want to make that steep climb.
this is me tossing out a little privilege and knowledge here, right?
Mhm.
So take
Bunch
it
of
with a grain of salt.
Yes.
As somebody who taught martial arts for about 10 years, I can tell you that the highest fall off rate was white belt and orange belt.
Mm-hmm.
And here's why. White belt, they got in and they didn't understand what the initial initial idea was. And so they walk in and they go, hell yeah, I want to kick and punch shit. And I go, it's actually not quite that. It's this little different thing. And then they go, ah, shit, well, that's not what I wanted. And they bounce.
Mm-hmm.
Or the people who get to orange belt and now they start fighting each other. And we put on sparring gear and we fuck each other up.
Yeah.
And then they go, ah, shit, that's not what I wanted. And then they fall off. But if we took and we made the climb from white straight to orange and we didn't have yellow, gold in between when it came to belts, if we didn't have those carrots, then way, way, way more people were going to drop off because we didn't hit a goal.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that in human nature, I do believe that that first step is the hardest step to take. And in order to do that, it is Jasco's job to make the game have so many different topics. Good enough tools is our job as content creators to have good tools and engaging content.
Yeah.
And how-tos and tutorials and so on and so forth. It's Jasco's job to do that same thing and have these good starter deck, new player-friendly products that they can purchase. And then it is our job to make them see a very hard goal, achieve that hard goal, feel that they have accomplished something, and then let them plateau for a bit. If I think if you take and you let somebody go to locals for an entire year and you let them get their ass beat and they want to be good at the game,
Mm-hmm.
and you have this really slow grind, I think after a month and a half, 2 months, somebody's going to give up.
Sure.
How many times have we seen somebody come to locals, spend a bunch of money, not get any good at the game, and then bounce? It's because we were making them take that long drive out, and then it happens. Look at Mark Tyner whenever he went to locals. He went to locals, he saw a goal, and then he instantly teamed up with Miles and Jake and said, hey, I'm gonna get really fucking good at this. Teach me. And he climbed straight up,
Yeah.
and then he hit his plateau. And he accomplished something, and then I'm good at the game now. All right, I can grind it out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think this long grind is such an old school martial arts mentality of you'll earn your black belt when you earn it.
Yeah.
Your white belt will turn black. You've now earned it. And it's so bad whenever people don't have the patience to strive for it,
Sure.
especially in today's
And it
environment.
becomes the people who want to play the game rather than it becomes the competitive player, not the casual player game.
Yeah.
There's no casual player in that format.
And that idea right there, the long grind versus the like high spike plateau,
Yeah.
is like everything that the FGC like has an issue with, right? Like whenever we take and we look at that's the reason that Super Smash Bros. Melee is such a good game, and the reason I enjoy it is because it is exactly that. It is that high peak and that plateau, right? Oh shit, I can do something in this game. I can make my fingers work the way I want them to. I know what I'm trying to do, and I succeeded at doing it. It was really fucking hard.
Yeah.
But if I went and I didn't hit that hard challenge and then just went to locals and just grinded it out and just got my ass beat for months and months and months, hell yeah, I'm gonna quit. The game sucks.
Yeah. So I think we should think of it as stairs then instead of a big hill. You hit little marks, little plateaus along the way.
But there aren't little hills. There's no small plateaus. It is entry, understanding, competing at a higher level.
Sure.
In my opinion.
But it can't little plateaus be like win more games.
I haven't done enough thinking about
that would be more personal.
quote how many plateaus there would be. I'm not positive I'd be okay with like saying a hard number.
I'm not
That's just the
asking
way
for a
I
hard
view
number.
it. It's
I'm
just
saying
you have
like
your entry point.
it's I guess what I was trying to get at is
I think that's actually a really fun article to write.
like instead of being a hill, it is little victories along the way, as if like a staircase that'll lead you up to the top.
I think that's more of like personal goals types things.
Yeah, I mean like, but isn't that the exact same thing?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think it's as simple as like how the game works. I think you setting up small goals isn't the same thing as somebody else setting up small goals.
I agree to disagree. It looks like our internet just dropped, so I'm going to stop here.
Excellent connection.
No, that's not how it works.
Yeah, I know.
Well, it looks like it's fine.
Nope.
Make sure to write down 24 minutes. 24 minutes after the ad break is when There needs to be an edit.
You're never gonna remember.
Correct. Hey, we're back.
And we're back. Sorry, internet dropped.
So, where were we?
I was talking
Agreeing to
about
disagree.
yeah, agreeing to disagree. I was saying small little stair steps.
I think we are way too close to the end of this podcast to jump into this big topic, unless you guys
Okay.
want to sit here for another 30 minutes.
No,
God,
we're all right.
I actually really need to go to the store.
Okay.
This podcast took way longer than I thought I was going to. Actually, we started way later than we should have.
Thanks for that.
Let's not.
I actually don't think that's my fault. I actually don't think it's my fault.
He's making a joke.
Oh.
Look, he's drinking his drink.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, James. And thank you, Canes, for sponsoring this show.
Thank you,
Man,
Sam,
only-
for buying it.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. I didn't buy this.
I want to.
I bought cards.
I want to come back to this in just
Write down.
next week.
All right.
Little victories, plateaus. I think I'm also gonna write an article about it, but I'll see what happens.
But I shouldn't have
Any
made that
last minute
bet.
thoughts when it comes to verbiage on the game? I believe
That's what.
Yeah.
I forgot that was our topic. Oops.
Yep. No, I'm done.
I think I'm still in the camp where I'd like it to be a little bit cleaner, just so that newer players have a better understanding of what they can and can't do. And I'm guessing, I guess I've come to the conclusion that like with cost is where I want it.
Let it go. You said cost in a very weird way.
Yeah.
But I wanted you to
It was
continue and I
entirely on purpose for entertainment value.
I love it.
Was it?
Okay. All right.
Was
Yes,
it really?
I
100%.
trust him.
That's why I say like bat sometimes, like that.
I don't know.
It sounded more like you were trying to have an accent.
No, I
Anywho.
just say cost.
Anywho. With cost.
Yeah. I'm glad that I accomplished my goal.
With the coast.
Yeah.
I lost
That's
you.
that's where I think I want it.
East or west, though?
Shut up.
I didn't say coast, I said cost, but I said it weird.
Anywho.
East or coast.
So I agree. I think the cleaner the verbiage, the better, only so that we have better examples of how things work, right?
Yeah.
So if we take and we look at overly dramatic, for example, if we had another card that said the exact same verbiage, if a card would draw a card, negate it,
Mm-hmm.
something along those lines. I think if we had more examples of verbiage that mimicked each other but had a different reaction and then ability, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess we could use the words cost and effect, but I just don't want to bring that word up again. I think that the game would just be better off for it. You know?
Yeah.
Over dramatic. Obviously, I have not done my research. Take it with a grain of salt. Might have such weird verbiage because of how it is typed or written out.
Right.
But it does very similar things to these other cards, and these other cards say the same thing, but because the English language is so confusing, it says it in just a different enough way for you not to associate them together.
Right.
Which is why, like, when I look at the ability on Revoke and I look at the ability on the Dark Side of Karma, I go, those two cards are linked together. They do the same thing because they're the verbiage that they've picked on those two cards are identical.
Uh-huh.
After your opponent plays an enhance, cancel it. After your opponent plays an enhance on a non-character, non-weapon foundation, or non-weapon card, cancel it. Perfect. I know exactly what that card does.
Uh-huh.
I think if we got a little more of that, game would be healthier. Game would be better. So with that, thank you very much for watching this episode of Study Hall here on TCG University for the card game UniVersus. My name's been Tam.
What was it before? What is it now? You
We've got James and Tyler. Thank you very much for watching the show, and stay learned.
Been learned.
We'll see you guys.